Hello everybody, Jam here, and welcome to round 2 of the Tora Touring Car Championship, coming to you from the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. As with the last set of videos, and probably throughout this series, we'll be starting off showing you my qualifying lap. And as you can see, we are on lap 6 of 6 in qualifying, so nothing like leaving your best till last. Honestly, it wasn't fully intentional. A couple of little mistakes and not brilliant laps earlier on in the qualifying session. I think I managed to get the dirty symbol up across 2 of my laps by going, I think it was wide in the final corner or the second last corner or something. So yeah, not particularly brilliant start to qualifying, but you know, I haven't actually set my best lap yet, and we're nearly, what was it, a tenth and a half up at this part of the circuit. We've got a car to follow, which is always nice. This is sort of a good distance. It's nice to have someone just to follow and judge and try and close in. It gives you a good visual representation of sort of how you're doing, but at the same time you don't want it to be so close and distracting. So, yeah, it's quite nice to have some of that sort of distance away. Nice and cautious through this very fast chicane. Very easy to run slightly wide, about 3 different places through that. And as you can see, leaving a bit of time on the table there, we have dropped so 0.08 of a second compared to the last split, but it would be this final sector where I'd make up time on my previous best lap. Once again, just keeping it nice and tidy, making sure we're staying well on the track, using the apexes nicely, not running onto the curb on the final lap, and accelerating up to across the line for a 1:43.608. And that would put me 7th on the grid, and it would be a grid with a very weird start. There seemed to be some sort of desyncing issue, so people launched at so slightly different times. As you could see, the 2 cars in front of me did not launch at all, and I've shot up to what is currently 4th place. But the bigger shock, if I can pronounce my words right, is the fact that you can see Tom in front of me. Once again, I would be joined in this lobby by my good friend and Pertec Team 1 teammate, Mr. Tom Whitty, and he'd started 10th on the grid, a good 3 places behind me. As I said, I started 7th, and Tom's, yeah, had a phenomenal start. I think, like I said, with the desyncing issue, I think Tom got to launch ever so slightly earlier than anybody else. Obviously, I got to launch slightly before the 2 cars directly in front of me, but yeah, it's this really jumbled up grid. It didn't seem to mean that qualifying in the end didn't really make much difference in this lobby, because it was just a case of when you got let go sort of from the grid. Like I say, you know, if you can launch even 2 seconds before, and I think the desyncing's up to 2 or 3 seconds, so yeah, he's obviously had a phenomenal start, a phenomenally lucky start, jumping up into P3 from P10. When that did happen, we had a quick discussion about any potential team orders, because obviously we want to do the best we can for our team. And I said, look, you know, you're ahead, just stay there, as long as you're not backing me up into the car behind, it's no problem. But then I had a brilliant run out the chicane, and he didn't, so I just went up his inside, and he didn't make it particularly hard for me. I didn't make it very easy on him, though, as you can see. I ran slightly deep into the right-hander, and through the left-hander, the Chevy Cruze managed to capitalise and get up Tom's inside. But fortunately, Tom shows a good bit of racecraft by keeping his nose up the inside and getting the position back on the final corner. He's going to have to be defending or fighting for it once again, though. That Chevy Cruze with a good launch off of said final corner, and he's now on the inside somewhere, and we can't quite see. Tom's leaving a little bit of a gap over to the right hand side there, breaking down into the chicane. Oh, the Audi's, oh, okay, not sure quite what happened to the Chevy Cruze there, showing about the camera angles, but yeah, as you can see, Tom not having to defend really going into the chicane, and the Audi from 4th place looks like, 5th place, has moved up to 4th by overtaking the Chevy. Very interesting. We jump a few good laps later now. From getting into 3rd and 4th, both myself and Tom were running in fairly clean air most of the time, but I did gradually close the gap on the Audi in front of me, and as you can see, the top end speed this week we seem to have quite an advantage. So running down the main pitch straight and around the very fast flat out turn 1, I was closing in quite dramatically on the Audi, who I can only presume is running a very high aero setup. through the long right-hander you just saw, the Audi was also taking quite a wide entry line, which could be very off-putting, as I was taking a much tighter line on the entry. It was almost like he was leaving the door completely open for me, but yeah, he wasn't, and he always seemed to get out ahead of it, get out of that corner easily and clearly ahead, is what I was trying to say. Yeah, so it was just a case of following round and try and keep the gap nice and close. When we get back onto this main straight, you can see I'm a bit closer on this occasion. If we're going to jump onto the onboard slot, you can see once we get going, just clawing that gap. I have to back off as he closes the door on the inside, so I think that's a great opportunity to catch him out and go for a dive. I get it done, I just about get it stopped, but I don't have the racing line through the chicane, and yeah, it didn't really work, and you can see just how much of a gap that's given the Audi once again. And I think we're about halfway through the race at this point, so yeah, not brilliant, because it's taken me, what, 5 laps to close the gap, that sort of sized gap up in the first place, and it's only a 10-lap race, and there's only, yeah, it's not going to be easy to catch him again, that's for sure. You can see just how far, this is 1 lap later after that attempted overtake, and I'm just far too far behind. There's it's going to be very, very difficult. I'm going to have my work seriously cut out for me to catch him. You can see there, just in that screenshot, just in that clip, what I was saying about taking a different line through that very long right-hander. So we're going to jump back to Mr. Tom Whitty and just sort of check in with him. He's also had a bit of a subdued race. Hasn't had the most amount to do. You can see in the background of some of these shots, there's quite a battle going on for P5 just behind him. But Tom's got the pace just enough to stay in front of the group and not have to worry about defending. But at the same time, I don't think we can even see... Can we see me in front of him? You can't ever really see the right camera angle. But yeah, he's a long way back from this, what is hopefully going to turn back into a fight for second. Actually, this is the last lap now. So if it's going to turn into another fight for second, it needs to happen very, very quickly. I just realised there was something else I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was going to be. So we'll just ignore that for the time being, and just, yeah, see if we can close in on the last half a lap. Got a very, very fast chicane here. Really try and maximise that, and see if we can get a good run out. See, I'm running ever so slightly wider than the Audi, using a little bit of the curbing into the final sector now. Long right-hander, again, just using as much of the curbing, keeping it nice and tight. Very quick switch back to another long left-hander. Again, running slightly wide just to open up the track and try and close in. And there he is, you can see, getting rather close to his bumper. There's, what, a car length between us. And the Audi was very good at getting off the turns. So out the last corner, there's nothing I could do. And that would be it for the highlights from this race. Not the most exciting one this time out, but a very good result. I got P3 and Tom got P4. So, yeah, it's... yeah, as I said, subdued, but a good result, and there's not much else to say, so I'll catch you for race 2 very soon. Goodbye.